Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through those fears and live an awesome life. Life is difficult. Let's talk about the things that we don't get out of. One of them is loss. What is loss? Let's define that first, because if we can absolutely see it in the most positive way, we can shift from deep, sad grief to something more positive, accepting. Maybe that loss isn't going to completely go away. It never truly does. But when we see it differently, life becomes much easier. And you go into a positive space that is actually better for that which you lost, whether it's an animal or a person. Now, I've had several people email me about great loss of a loved one that they've been with for years. Actually, in every single case, the loss was with somebody who was ill for a period of time. So, first of all, I want to say blessings to you because, I've never experienced being with somebody for that long of a period of time. And I know that your life revolves around each other's schedules and your companionship. So it is absolutely a great loss. I mean, I can liken it to, first of all, my family, but more than anything, my dog. My dog for 16 years is a part of my life. He's part of my way of life. And when he was gone, all those things that we did together were gone, including, just having that little guy, jump up on the bed and curl up with me. Loss is a part of being human, but humans see it as something negative. We do not have acceptance of loss. We see it as something bad, even though we know it's inevitable. The funny thing is we grieve and we get upset as if it was never supposed to happen, as if one of you wasn't going to go, as if the animal isn't going to go someday. So there's the grief of, the loss of having that beautiful being in your life. And then there are people that take it to a level where they don't accept it and they allow it to actually affect their own lives in such a negative way that they're not living fulfilled or, going out there and really, fulfilling their mission here to be their best. Those energies that have passed on are in the best possible amazing place. And they're screaming, "I'm okay, it's okay." And whatever they experienced during the transition is so brief compared to their life here and their existence on the other side. This is such a flash in the pan, our experience here. No one would ever go to the other side and wish that somebody would, mourn over them or be unhappy because they're in a state of bliss and they can't even relate to human feelings anymore. They're out of their pain, especially those who have gone through long, illnesses. I didn't experience that. My family, my mom, my dad, and my brother all died very quickly. And even my cousin, she didn't linger for long. So I know that that's different than somebody who slowly is dying. They're going to go. It's inevitable. And so that care and love that you gave them during that time period is really a test of you as a human being. And that's part of your agreement with them, is that you would provide this true caring and love in the worst of circumstances. Now you get people that will divorce somebody as soon as they find out they're sick and leave. And that karma doesn't go away. You have to deal with everything you do in your life, all right? And you have to ask yourself, how you feel about that. And if you've made mistakes, to forgive yourself ask for forgiveness, and move on and know that you're human and you make mistakes all the time. We all make mistakes, and most of the time the mistakes aren't even intentional. They're just unconscious. You know, you didn't say I love you and the ego was in play. You know, a parent that you don't feel close to or hasn't treated you well. And later on you think, you know what, I shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? Don't worry about that. These things all get worked out. And the fact that you look back and have the desire to have changed it, in some ways can change that past. The focus and the thought on that alone and the desire to say I love you is saying I love you. And they hear that. They know that because we're one collective energy. It's not like, I wonder if they heard that. You know, they're out there somewhere. No, they're part of your energy. All of us are. We're all connected to the one energy. We all share everything. There's no one person that owns any one thing, any emotion, any idea, any invention, any property, anything. It's all part of the collective. But we as humans want to separate everything. The ego wants to separate all these things. And you're not separate. And you will be on that other side too. So what is it you're grieving? Well, if you've lost somebody tragically or who's young, I know that there is the grief of that they didn't have that chance to be here and experience it. But that's not, there's no chaos in the universe. There were agreements in advance and agreements in the moment of what will and won't play out that will test you, that will allow you to experience certain things that frankly just don't make sense, do they? Not as humans, because when we don't feel good, it makes absolutely no sense why we would suffer. Yet we have the choice over our feelings and how we see the world. You can change your feelings by changing how you view these events in your life. And any loss, I'll give you an example, you know, and I know some of you wrote me about this. Baby Koo Kitty, you've seen him in my videos. He's just amazing, the most amazing cat. I was never really a cat person. I didn't even know the first thing about them. He was a stray. So it took a long period of time before I got him to come in the house because it was getting really cold out. I was worried about him just because I love animals. I knew something wasn't right with him because one of his pupils kept dilating, and I looked it up and it was a neurological disorder, which I didn't share with you guys. He was starting to lose power in his back end. And so eventually he was just going to be laying there, not being able to function. Koo was not to be kept inside. He would have ripped the door down because he was an outdoor cat. Although I kept him inside as much as I possibly could. But he loved to visit the neighbors, and they loved him, and then he would sit on my front porch. I tried to be as responsible as I could. You know, I'm used to having a dog where you control a dog. Cats, especially stray cats, you know, and I read up on this, and the bottom line was you're not going to be able to domesticate this cat. This was from cat experts. You can't keep a stray cat inside all the time. That's not their life, and it's not a quality of life for them. It's not how they live or think. And the fact that I had him in the house as long as I did was pretty amazing. Koo went out, as he always does, in the morning and never came back. And I found out that he got killed by coyotes. We have coyotes in the neighborhood, but that was sort of a shocker. I believe that Koo was unable to escape because he physically was not up to par. Koo exited this world and lived the life the way he wanted to. I protected him as well as I could. I don't regret anything. You know, you're always going to say, if I'd have just kept him in that day, but you don't know that, do you? Those of you say, if I had not let my son or daughter out that day, if they'd have just, you know, if I didn't let them have the car, or if. You cannot control these things. Everybody else has their own free will. You can just do your best and know that it played out the way it was supposed to. We don't understand it, But if you were as loving and caring as you could be, and even if you made mistakes during those events, you are human. Forgive yourself and know that they participated in their own departure. They really did. All right? Nobody leaves this planet without free will. They have to agree to it. Illnesses are part of their journey and part of what they may have created. A lot of illnesses come from our own internal conflicts. And then sometimes we just go through certain illnesses as part of our experience here. But we as humans don't accept all of this. We're going to say, I should have never let the cat out that morning. Well, I could have sequestered him in the house and made him a prisoner, which would have been the worst possible thing. I did my best. And even though, yes, I look back and I go, wow, he might still be here, but he also would not be functioning at this point. He was going downhill quick. And so he lived a life and exited quickly instead of a little bag that I was going to have to carry around that couldn't even go potty on his own. So who knows why he exited, but he came in my life and it was amazing. This person that was in your life was amazing, right? And maybe sometimes not amazing. But can you accept the fact that we all come and go? All of us. We are part of that same equation that they are a part of. They just went before we did. And we don't know what our exit strategy is. And we can change it at any point. You can agree to go quicker or not. I suggest you stay here and work through this. I suggest that you use that and appreciate the power of them being in your life. That's part of your soul group that never goes away. They are still a part of your life. It's not like they're over there waiting for you and then you'll meet them. They're in your life right now. They are absolutely where there's no veil between you and them on their part. Because we're in a dense world, we have a veil that is an issue when it comes to seeing on the other side, because we have density here and we're not connected to all of our powers. Well, we can experience it through dreams. You can meditate. Sometimes you can experience things talking to them. A lot of times you are over there talking to them. You'll wake up and you don't even know you did it. I caught a conversation I was having with my mother. I actually felt my mother. I started to wake up. I took a nap during the day, a couple months after she died. I was on the bed with my little doggie, and I felt somebody like spooning me, hugging me from my back. You know how you would hug somebody from the back? I mean, physically felt it. And I was waking up, and I actually laid there and I thought, oh my God. And I was aware that it had to be my mother. I was just aware of it. But as I was waking up, I heard myself talking, and I was crying. And I said, I miss you. I love you. I miss you. And I was having a conversation with her. And I woke up. And for just, I'd say, maybe another 10 seconds, which is a long time, I continued to experience her hugging me. And then it dissolved. So you may be going over having full-blown conversations and you don't even remember them. Many times you will have dreams and they'll be in the dreams. They participate in whatever way they can. They are also evolving on the other side. If you've noticed, when you see them in dreams, they'll be younger. All right? And if they're confused and they're working things out, sometimes it takes a while before they'll ever show up. My brother's one of them. Every time I see him, I see that he's evolved a little bit more, but he's not really communicating much with me. He'll appear in dreams, but I think he's confused about where he is, and he's learning over there. Remember, they have their own journey that continues on. Many people will be over there in total bliss. Well, they're all in total bliss, but maybe they've learned a lot here, and now they're just onto a new assignment or project. But they're still in touch with you. So I just want you to know that nothing ever dies, and it all has its own purpose, and there's no chaos in the universe, and no one leaves here by some freak accident. It's always part of some kind of agreement and plan, part of their free will. And so ask yourself, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? Because you're going to be here. It's going to be a flash in the pan for you before you're the one somebody is mourning and grieving over. What are you going to do? Because they're aware of that, and the last thing they want is for you to be upset. The other thing, too, is people feel like, women are really good at this, feel like they'd be not being loyal if they met another person. The spirit world doesn't think like that. The spirit world isn't possessive. The spirit world wants the best for you and doesn't want to own anything. It just doesn't come. It's coming from a non-material world of which they just want joy and happiness for everybody. And they would not want you to sit around and be sad. So they would want you to go out and have fun. And if you want to date, go date. If you get another puppy, get another puppy. But honor that person. But just know that we are all light and love. We are photons. We are light. We're firing off light. Inside this body is nothing but light. That's actually, scientifically true. And we are one energy. We're all connected. It's this perceived idea that we're separate that creates the pain. And that there's something, again, in the material world, something outside of me that will make me happy. And that goes along with people. And then when we lose the person, we're unhappy. There's no celebration in that. There are some cultures that are okay with it. Very few. Enjoy your life. Go ahead and grieve and be sad. Experience being human. Experience loss. And know that this is brief. That person is still with you. They hear you. You can talk to them. They're usually protectors at some point. They will step in and make sure you're okay if you had a positive relationship with that person. And even if you didn't, all of that goes away. And they learn lessons on the other side. And many times those very people that inflicted pain on you may be your protectors as part of their evolution on the other side is to now care for you. So we don't have all the answers, but I do know one thing. None of this is meant to be painful. It's just an experience. None of this is meant to be punishment. None of this is just some random thing that happens that's unfair. And that if you chose this and they chose certain events, congratulations. You have taken on a big project. What are you going to do with it? It's the same thing as anything else in your life. What are you going to do with this grief? Honor it. Honor it, just like we want to honor our planet, and that everything dies and evolves. And we don't think twice about that when a tree falls, or leaves drop, or the bud of a plant falls off. We think nothing of it. Oh, it's just part of the life of a plant or a tree. And us. Can you celebrate that will be renewed? And it already is. They always look amazing. My dad, oh my gosh, my dad and my mom, holy cow, they look amazing. And they're having a blast. They're funny. They're having a lot of fun, and they've evolved a lot. I've watched them in my dreams. Every time I see them, I can see that they've evolved. So I know that they're over there learning a lot in a fraction of the time that we do here. So I'm sorry for whatever loss you've experienced. Go ahead and sit with that. Be okay with being sad. Experience that human emotion. Talk to your loved one. Bless them. And if there's something you need to say, if you feel like you should have said I love you and you didn't, Go ahead and say it. And they know that's okay. It's okay. They're in a beautiful place. And all your animals are all happy and healthy now. And they're not even thinking about this stuff that we do. Should I have, when people are, oh, I've never had to put an animal down. Should I have waited as long as I did? Did I make them hang around a long time for me? Was that selfish? Oh, they suffered. They're not thinking like that. They're just experiencing it, and then they're gone. They're gone. They're in a great place. Most of the time, they're not even suffering. The spirit starts to separate from that body. It's not even experiencing that pain. You're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my friend. I send you my light and love for your loss and healing to you. Do your job here. Share that experience with other people. Help other people going through it. Be the light and the peace that says this is just part of what we experience here. It's done. They're safe. They're happy. And so should you be. That's what they would want. Namaste.